Taliban is taking responsibility for shooting down a U.S. helicopter. More than 30 people were killed, and there are reports this morning that most of them are U.S. Navy SEALs.
So devastating, this news, and especially after that news in May that SEALs were able to kill Osama bin Laden in a raid. Today's crash, and they do believe it was from enemy fire, possibly a rocket-propelled grenade. They believe it was shot down right after an operation. This was in Wardak province. Now, I also want to add that the first person to say these were U.S. Special Operations Forces was Hamid Karzai, the president of Afghanistan. He released a written statement sending his condolences for the loss of those troops in the Afghan forces as well. But he was the first to say Special Operations Forces, and we did confirm through a senior military official they were Navy SEALs. This, as you know, beyond a very, very small community of these highly trained elite U.S. forces. This is the single largest loss of life in Afghanistan in a single incident since this war began.
And at least 31 U.S. Special Forces troops were killed. U.S. officials confirmed that most of them are members of the U.S. Navy's elite SEAL teams, and they believe the helicopter was shot down. Straight to Washington, D.C. now, and our Pentagon correspondent Barbara Starr. Barbara, any new details about that helicopter crash? What do the officials think happened?
Well, indeed, Joe. At this point, 22 Navy SEALs have lost their lives. Many of them, most of them, we are told, members of the same overall unit, the covert unit of Navy SEALs that went after Osama bin Laden. Many of them, most of them, we are told, members of the same overall unit, the covert unit of Navy SEALs that went after Osama bin Laden, not the same exact commandos. They have run a name check.
And so shortly after taking office, I directed Leon Panetta, the director of the CIA, to make the killing or capture of bin Laden the top priority of our war against al-Qaeda. A small team of Americans carried out the operation with extraordinary courage and capability. No Americans were harmed. They took care to avoid civilian casualties. After a firefight, they killed Osama bin Laden and took custody of his body. For over 2 decades, bin Laden has been al-Qaeda's leader and symbol, and has continued to plot attacks against our country and our friends and allies. The death of bin Laden marks the most significant achievement to date in our nation's effort to defeat al-Qaeda. Yet his death does not mark the end of our effort. There is no doubt that al-Qaeda will continue to pursue attacks against us. We must, and we will, remain vigilant at home and abroad.
On a near moonless night, packed into 2 specially outfitted Black Hawk helicopters, the most elite Navy Special Operations team, SEAL Team 6, hand-picked and experienced, headed for the mission of their lives. The target, this sprawling compound surrounded by walls reaching nearly 20 feet high at points. The SEAL team, 30 to 40 men, flew low beneath the radar and undetected in the darkness, descending on the compound. The plan was to rappel from the helicopters, but one of the Black Hawks stalled, forcing a white-knuckle hard landing outside the compound.
We are very good at making it up on our feet because something will always go wrong.
The SEALs then moving quickly and quietly toward the compound. They began a room-by-room search in a smaller building first, where they found the wives and children of 2 of bin Laden's trusted couriers. Next, the larger complex, where gunfire erupted. 2 men, bin Laden's couriers, were shot dead. On the ground, now nearly 40 minutes, the SEALs climbed the stairs to the upper floors, and there he was, staring right at them. Those deadly brown eyes, the beard, a man well over 6 feet tall. This had to be bin Laden. The SEALs shouted for bin Laden to surrender. He resisted. They aimed straight for his head, giving the weapon a double tap of the trigger, as they are trained to do, to ensure they got him. At least one of the bullets entered just above his left eye. While a group of SEALs searched the house, grabbing computer hard drives and whatever else they could find, others grabbed bin Laden's body, carrying it through the compound and loading it onto the helicopter. Left behind, bin Laden's wounded wife. The SEAL team had practiced this mission in the last month, even having a replica of the compound built in the U.S., where they trained for every possible contingency.
Some people even finding it amusing that America's most wanted fugitive, the man behind the September 11th attacks in the United States, was here in their town of Abbottabad. Now, I'm actually here with an eyewitness by the name of Jahangir Khan. Jahangir, if you could just stand right here for me. Jahangir, in the early hours of the morning, you heard some explosions. Tell me what you saw.
Actually, I was almost awake, actually, 1 o'clock. I was talking to my friend in UK online and Skype, and I hear the helicopter was moving. And I was talking to my wife, what's happening? And it was a little bit scary. We came out, and I have seen the helicopter. I went to top of my roof, and because it was totally dark, there was no lights, but I have seen them. It was, I think it was Apache helicopter. So they was moving around 12 o'clock. Then they start firing a few minutes. Then they came again, few minutes firing. Then around 1 o'clock, we went inside. We thought, I don't know what's happening. Then by 1 o'clock, we went inside. And then 1:15, we hear the exploder, like big noise. Then we scared and we came out we jumped outside from the house, and we saw all the people was going up to the, then we went up. Then I hear the people was crying there somewhere, like, then we run there because my cousin is living there, right? It's 5 minutes walk if I run from my house to there. Then we run there, me and my brother and a few other people. We run there, but when we went there was all fire going on. It was nothing. And then army came over, they took over. We were there until 4 o'clock.
Okay, so you woke up in the morning and then you heard the news. It was an assault carried out by the United States in which they captured and killed Osama bin Laden. What did you think when you heard the news?
When I came back at 4 o'clock from there to my house, I opened the news and this says about Osama bin Laden. I was shocked. And to be honest, I'm living here all my life. And you know that if somebody new comes in your street, in your area, you always know. Like somebody is, you can feel them, you can see the movement. I haven't seen anything like that. I can't believe that. I can't believe that.
You know, a lot of people in your neighborhood have said that they were suspicious about this house. Was there anything about this house that you found suspicious, that you found strange about?
To be honest, I always go in the evening, walk from my house to the same house where they said the Osama bin Laden. The next house is my other house, which I rented to my cousin friend. And every day in the evening we went there by walk with my wife for just walking. I never seen anything like that, and that's why I can't believe that. And to be honest, it's not true. Osama, maybe some other people, but Osama is not the bird who went to the inside, because this is restricted area. When we came out from outside to come here, to always army will say, oh, where's your ID card? So it's not unbelievable.
Right. Thank you very much.
Sheikh, the man who murdered Osama bin Laden. Now I know that having dealings with people does not necessarily mean that.
Yes, we can now confirm that about an hour and a half ago, John, Osama bin Laden was buried at sea. We're told by a senior U.S. official that he was the only of the 4 bodies at the compound, the 4 people killed at the compound. He was the only person who was taken away, and that body has now been buried at sea. We can confirm that.
There was talk about possibly calling up Saudi Arabia and saying, do you want to bury him in his home country, possibly calling Afghanistan or Pakistan, but the fear was that if you put Osama bin Laden in the ground, he becomes, his burial site becomes a shrine and an attraction and maybe a lightning rod for the people who believe the same way he does. So by burying him at sea, the Pentagon is hoping to forestall any kind of hero worship, or at least worship of the burial site, because nobody's going to know where he is.